leaking top insider stock trades every day until they stop us, October 10th. Before we start, let's clear up something about BGC Group because I got a handful of messages of people commenting on the massive $80 million purchases going on there, and there are 3 different insiders making these $80 million purchases. So this can be a little tricky, but it is one of the things that we do at CEO Watcher, and one of the things you have to be careful of when looking at these type of trades is all 3 of those purchases are actually the same exact trade. It's just 3 different related entities, and those purchases are actually just Howard Lutnick selling or giving the shares to his son. So because Howard Lutnick is part of the government, he's supposed to divest his interest. In this case, he just sold them to his son, which I don't really know if that counts as divesting. Now, the reason you see 3 different purchases is because the son is the chairman at Cantor Fitzgerald, but on top of that, the son manages a trust that is also a managing partner at Cantor Fitzgerald. And so all 3 of these entities have to report, even though it's the same exact trade. Just because those are the rules, they're just a couple different public entities that are required to file that trade. So overall, I mean, maybe BGC Group stock does well, but it has nothing to do with this insider purchase. Moving on to a more interesting insider trade, though this is one at a realty trust, which is not a particular sector that I am very interested in, so it's not for me, but you might find it super interesting. A director at Agree Realty Corporation bought $1.77 million of the stock. Just a few days ago, the chief growth officer also bought $25K, and last week the CEO bought $250K. This is the first purchase ever for the director, but the CEO and the chief growth officer have pretty decent returns on their previous purchases. Their last earnings call was very positive, where they raised their guidance on basically everything, and they also mentioned that their investment volume had more than doubled year to date. However, I'm not a big fan of REITs. I'd rather have stocks that are more volatile that could move, up or down quite a bit, and then we can use the insider buying or selling as hints to whether or not it's going to go up or down. However, the only reason this is pretty interesting is because earnings are on October 21st, and almost certainly the insider should not be able to buy the stock 2 weeks before earnings. So again, I don't expect the stock to fly up after earnings or anything like that, but I do think it's abnormal that we've got this insider purchasing so close to the earnings when they clearly know how the earnings are going to go, and I really wouldn't expect the earnings to be bad with these insiders buying right now. So somebody set their alarm for October 21st and then come back and tell me how earnings did. And a more interesting insider purchase is at A-Tier, or however you pronounce it, ATYR Pharma, where a director bought $911,000 of the stock, which was a 90% increase to their holdings. Now, this insider does not have a good track record of returns, but the only reason this is interesting is because the company actually failed their phase 3 trial recently, which caused the stock to drop down 80%. This was a pretty popular biotech stock and actually has a lot of similarities with Cassava Sciences, which we saw earlier, where it was very popular. The stock also then fell 90% plus after a failed phase 3 trial. And the stock is now up over 200% since the bottom of that drop. And when we saw that CEO buying a couple of weeks ago, the stock jumped 50% when the CEO filed their purchase, and then it's gone up another 20% plus since then. Find all the top insider trades at CEOWatcher.com.